Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Nyāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Sāmīcipatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Yadidam cattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala Esa bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaneyo Anuttarang punyakettam lokassati Sādi, sādi, sādi.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. First of all, may all of our homage be to my great Kalyana Mitra, my teacher, our Pinmat Lokuswamin Vahanse, Most Venerable Kiribat Gude Jnanananda Mahathera. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Venerable Mahasangha and dear devotees and my dear children, today you all are gathered here to listen to the Buddha's teachings and to see how we can apply it to our life and to see the Dhamma through our life. Okay. Dhamma means the Buddha's teachings. And what Buddha taught to this world was not something that is out of this world. Okay. What Buddha taught to us is all about our life and how we are subjected to this life and what's the true nature behind it. Okay. So what Buddha teaches us is he reveals the truth behind the life. But when it comes to truth, sometimes truth can be difficult to accept. Sometimes truth can be a little bit, I would say, uncomfortable. And sometimes the truth can be a little bit bitter. Okay? That is why they say the truth is always, what's the taste of truth? Huh? Have you ever tasted the truth? It's bitter. No. Hard to accept. Hard to swallow that pill. Because that's the truth. But how our mind is designed, an average person's mind is designed, is to forget the truth or to distract himself from the truth. And for that, we have invented a lot of things. Okay? We have made a lot of things to distract ourselves from the truth. But distracting ourselves from the truth and reality doesn't solve the problem. It only distracts. For an example, usually people, when they face or when they go through these kind of truths in life, what are the truths that we face? Huh? So the first noble truth is called dukkha. The first truth that Buddha teaches us is called what? What is it? Dukkha. Dukkha, commonly translated as suffering. Okay? So what Buddha teaches us is that suffering, or this unsatisfied nature of our mind, is common for everyone. Okay? It is not something that only you go through in life. It is something that we all go through. Okay? One inherent nature that we all share in this room is one thing in common, no matter who we are, no matter what level of life we are living in. One thing that is common is that our life is subject to suffering. Okay? But many of us, or most of us, sometimes all of us, we are afraid of this. We are afraid to think about it. We are afraid to reflect on it. Or sometimes we are afraid to remember it. Even when someone is remembering such things, we get annoyed. Okay? One suffering, okay, so there's a whole list, but I will pick one to tell you something about it. One suffering or one reality, one truth that we face is that our life is subjected to death. It has an end. Is that true? Yes. It is true, but what's the problem? Difficult to accept. Okay? Difficult to accept. Difficult to think about it. Sometimes we get annoyed when someone reminds us about it. Have you get annoyed now? Because I reminded it to you? I get this complaint a lot. Why Buddhism always talk about pain, suffering, death, dying, crying? Why? Because that's the truth. Okay? And truth is bitter. I used to annoy my mother a lot by remembering this truth every day when I go to school. Okay? So, usually in Sri Lankan culture, we have one practice. It's to worship our mother's feet, or parents' feet, whenever we leave our house. Okay? Sometimes, if your father or one of your parents are not in your house, we go to their photograph and we worship to their photograph as well. Okay? That's one thing that we did. So I used to worship my mother's feet, and when I go to school or go to somewhere else, like go out of house, I used to say, Mang Yannang. Okay? Mang Yannang means I'll go. Okay, I'll leave. I'm leaving. And she always get annoyed when I say Mang Yannang. Oh, I leave. Why? She always say, no, don't say that. Always say, Gihing Ennang. Okay, I'll come back. I'll go and come back. Okay. So now I say that I don't know whether I'll be able to come back. Maybe I will get I will meet with an accident on the road. I don't know, I will die on the way. And then a sleeper comes flying. Right? Talking about death was prohibited. It's a big no. Okay. Why? Because it's a reality in life and we all find it is difficult to accept. Okay. That's one truth. It's not the only truth that we have. We are subjected to aging. Our life is subjected to aging. It is a truth, difficult to accept. Right? We spend a lot of time when we are young in front of the mirror, but now we don't. Okay? Because difficult to accept. But it is common for everyone. Okay? This is something that we often forget. And there's another truth that the Buddha says, you are subjected to sickness. Right? One inherent nature of our life, of our body, is that it is a home for all the sicknesses. Okay? There are no other diseases out of the body. Always there are diseases inside the body. You know? So that is one truth that we all share. Okay? Don't be sad. I know I see sad faces. Okay? Why? Always suffering. See, so the Buddha says, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, okay? Sickness is suffering, death is suffering, okay? Separation from loved ones and loving things is suffering. Is it? Yes, that's one of the most difficult experiences that we go through in our life, right? Difficult to accept, but it is the truth. Someday we will have to be separate, okay? And then? Having to be with undesirable people is suffering. You know what it is, sometimes, right? You marry someone else and after marrying you have another person. Different person, totally unexpected, you know? So they come to the temple and they talk with us. Why is this happening? Sometimes problems can happen. So having to be with undesirable people, undesirable things, undesirable conditions in life is also one common suffering, one common painful feeling that we all go through. Not getting what one wants, what one desires, is also suffering. We expect a life to be perfect and we expect a life without suffering. But oftenly we don't get it. Not oftenly, definitely we don't get it. So that we suffer. So the Buddha says, in whole, whom we called this self, the five aggregate that is subjected to clinging, is subjected to suffering. Okay? So this is the first noble truth. And this is where a lot of people think, okay, Buddhism is pretty pessimistic. Why? It talks about suffering. Pretty negative, no? But it seems to be pessimistic when you just think about it only superficially. But if you go to the second noble truth, what's the second noble truth? The cause for suffering, the origin of suffering. So the Buddha teaches that why do we suffer? There's a reason for this suffering in your life. Okay? Now you got to find that. You have to find that reason. If you only find that reason that causes you suffering, you only can solve that suffering or the problem. Buddha often refers this to a tree. Okay? The Buddha says, no matter how many times you cut down a tree from its trunk, it will grow back. Why? Because you haven't touched even the roots. You haven't removed the roots. Okay? Until the roots are removed of that tree, the tree will grow back. Same like that. What we have done all throughout our life is cutting the tree from the trunk. Trying to forget it. Trying to forget the reality. Trying to distract ourselves from the reality so that we don't want to think about it. We numb ourselves. We have invented a lot of things for that. No? Some people, what do when they have problems? Huh? They drink, not water. Okay? They don't drink water. If you drink water, that's healthy. Okay? They drink fire water. In Sinhala we say what? Gini water. Okay? The fire water. Why? To distract. Okay? To distract their mind, that pain and that suffering for a little while. But that doesn't solve the problem. So the problem is still there. So if the problem is still there, what do you do next? Again, you drink more. But it doesn't solve the problem. I had one of my friends, who was my closest friends, and used to drink a lot. A lot means a lot, like crazy lot. Every time he's drunk. And I very much loved him because he was a good guy, okay? Sometimes all the people who drink too much, sometimes in their heart they are good people. Only they have few little mistake, not a mistake, they do this for distract themselves. Okay? But that is killing themselves. They don't understand it. So I used to talk with him a lot. And I always say, so why do you drink? What's the problem? He says, problems, man, problems. Full of problems, life. So then I asked, okay, if you have problems, so after drinking, with the problem solved? Well, I might forget it for a little while. Okay. Then I asked, okay, so if the problem is still there, so what's the point of drinking and numbing yourself? Okay. So what Buddha teaches us is to not to forget or to numb the pain or numb the suffering, but to see it as a part of life. Okay. The nature of the life itself is it is subjected to these kind of realities. Okay. So that we accept what life it is as it is, and see the suffering as it is. So that we don't expect the life to be without these pains of suffering. So that your mind is not against, our mind is not hating to that reality. Okay. Once you don't hate that reality, there's nothing to worry. Why? Because you see it as a part of your life. Okay? So that accepting and remembering yourself that there is these kind of realities in life is what makes your mind stronger. If not, we expect a life to be without these realities when the life itself has these own realities. The more you expect not to have pain, the more you suffer. Okay? The more you reject the reality of life, the more we suffer. Isn't it? Yes. Okay? So what Buddha teaches us is to see the suffering as a part of life, so that you don't hate it. Okay? And that's the first step of healing. That's the first step of healing. If not, we keep touching the wound. Right? We keep removing the scab of the wound so that it doesn't solve. Okay? Because to touch the wound, sometimes it is so much fun, isn't it? Have you ever enjoyed touching a wound? Removing the scab? Seeing the blood? This is nice. Like that? The more you do that, what happens? Your wound doesn't heal. You keep touching it. You keep touching it. You don't apply medicine. Just keep touching it and you don't let it to heal. Once you accept that you should not touch and you should you should not disturb that problem. Sometimes we become the problem for the problem, isn't it? We disturb the problem. There's a nice saying that says, don't disturb the disturb until the disturb disturbs you. Okay? So that when we don't hate and when we see this reality as a part of our life, we are not at war with it. We don't hate it. And when you don't hate it, you start to heal. I was giving the same speech to a group of doctors. This is one of my go-to things that I very fancy about and I very much like about how Buddha teaches us about the life. Okay. And I was giving the same speech to a group of doctors. And there was one doctor who was treating to the cancer patients. And he came up to me and said, this is what we teach for the cancer patients. To see the cancer as a part of their life or body. To accept it. Okay. Once you accept it and you think, okay, there is a cancer now in my body. Okay. And my body has an ailment inside, but it is okay. Okay? This is a part of my body. This is the nature of my body. It's okay. So that you don't hate, that patient doesn't hate his body, their cancer. Okay? And he said to me that it is amazing the day that they accept this reality of his life is the day that the cancer starts to heal. Okay. So the Buddha says that these realities, what we call the suffering, is an unavoidable reality. We can't avoid it. You can run away. You can run away from it, but somehow it will come behind you and find you. Okay. So, what Buddha teaches us is to see it as a part of life. And then the Buddha says, when you see it and when you accept it, you don't worry and you don't add excess amount of suffering into that suffering. Okay? Because we already have this pain and suffering in our body. But when we worrying is an excess suffering that we add to that pile of suffering, isn't it? Yes. That is excess amount of suffering. But the inherent suffering, we cannot avoid it. It is unavoidable, right? It is inevitable truth. So the suffering cannot avoid, but worrying is avoidable. Because worrying is a choice that we make to worry about it. so that we add more suffering into it. And the Buddha says, when he worry about it, then he hates himself. He develops the anger, tendency towards the anger in mind. For an example, let's say, just imagine a time you were sick, like your body failed. Once your body failed, your mind fails, right? And what's the most frequent emotion that comes to your mind? It is the anger. Because you don't get always you don't get what you want. Sometimes you have to ask for it. Sometimes you have to wait for it. Sometimes you don't get to eat the stuff that you like. Isn't it? Yes. Sometimes some patients, the doctors, they prohibit to give water. And that time, most of the time, we get angry about it. I was treating to one of our monks who had the dengue fever in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is well known for the fever. So I was treating to him, and next to his bed there was another older gentleman, and his kidneys have been failed, and the doctors prohibited to give water for some hours. And now he's asking for water, and he wants it. I know that his body has failed and the mind has failed, and he's yelling with all the words that he knows to insult, with the pain. Sometimes it is obvious that we all feel like that, But that anger creates excess amount of pain and suffering. That anger, it creates excess amount of suffering. And when he hates himself, now it's more painful. We add some more pain into that pain. And the next step is to, now somehow we need to distract ourselves from this pain. It chooses the distraction. You find so many ways to forget that pain. Not to see that it's as a part of life, or not to see it as it is, or not to accept it, but to forget. And to do that, the Buddha says, one chases behind this material pleasure. Material pleasure. And once we chase behind the material pleasure, one thing that happens to us is there is always the unsatisfaction in our mind. Our mind is not satisfied easily with things, isn't it? Yeah. You think like, I wish I could have something more or different. When you expect something more, there is a vacuum in your mind that is not filled. There's a space in your mind that is not filled. And that vacuum, that space, creates pain. Why? We expect something to be and something is missing in our life. You feel like something is missing. So that we create more suffering into suffering again. And the Buddha says that is how a person adds more suffering into suffering. What Buddha teaches us is to not to suffer more than needed. Of course you will suffer, there are unavoidable realities in our life. When you accept it, you don't suffer more. You don't suffer more. Buddha refers this to an arrow or a dart. The Buddha says a person gets hit by an arrow or a dart. Now it is painful. As soon as he gets hit by the arrow or a dart or a spear, he get hit by the second arrow, or a dart, or a spear. Now, how many pains are there? First arrow and the second arrow, 2 pains. That's more pain. Okay? But the Buddha says a wise person is like a person get hit by an arrow, but he doesn't get hit by the second arrow. So that there is only, how many pains? Just 1. No more pain. Okay? The first arrow is unavoidable. You can't tell how it's going to come. You can't predict when it is going to come. Somehow what we can say is it is going to come and hit us. Unavoidable. We don't know when it's going to come. But once you get hit by the first arrow, the second arrow is not an accident. Once you get hit by the first arrow, you can be mindful about a second arrow so that you can avoid it. Same like that. The Buddha says, once a wise person sees this reality of life and accept it as it is, he knows how, he doesn't worry about it because it was something that he knew. Okay? It was something that was expected and not unexpected. So that then there are no unexpected incidents happen in life. Okay? When he accepts it, when he accepts and see it as a part of their life, he doesn't worry about it. Okay, there's nothing to worry. It starts to heal. And when he doesn't worry, there's nothing to hate about it. So he doesn't add more suffering into that suffering. And when he doesn't hate, he doesn't want to chase behind this material pleasure, so that he doesn't add more suffering into suffering. That's how a wise person sees about the realities in life. So that accept. Okay? So what Buddha teaches us is to remember yourself these realities, although they are painful, to face it with a strong mind. And these realities, although they seem to be painful or difficult, they're not that pessimistic. That's why the Buddha's teachings are not pessimistic. And also they are not optimistic as well as. Okay? Buddha doesn't say, oh, the life is beautiful, enjoy, everything is fine, you don't have any suffering. Doesn't baby you. Same like a doctor. Okay? That's why the Buddha referred himself to as a doctor. He says, Sallakato Anuttaro, means the ultimate surgeon or the doctor. The doctor doesn't come you with, first he doesn't come to you and say a good news. Doctor always has a bad news. Isn't it? Yeah. Doctor always has a bad news. What is it? That there is a disease in you. Okay? He will be honest with you. Okay? He'll be honest with you and say, okay, I'm going to be honest with you that there is this disease in your body. It's a bad news. And then the doctor explains. Your hands up there. Raise your hand if you're a doctor. Here? Are there any doctors here? Yes. Okay. So that you explain to the patient why it caused. Okay? So the doctor explains why it is caused. The disease. It shows you the reason for this. And then the doctor says, now it comes the good news. What is it? Luckily, we can cure the disease. Okay? Don't worry, we can cure it. And then the doctor introduces a course of medicine to follow to cure that disease. Same like that. The Buddha teaches that when you remove the cause of suffering, remove the suffering. Okay? And finally, the Buddha introduced a path to follow to end suffering. Okay? So, what Buddha teaches us is to, first you have to remember yourself and reflect the reality of life so that you have a deeper understanding about what life is. Okay? So the Buddha says there are 5 themes, 5 things that one should think and reflect upon. But now I'm going to be honest with you. Why? These things are not fairy tales. These things are not sweet things. These things are the realities of life and truths of life, and the truth is always the bitter. Okay? What's the first thing? The Buddha says there are 5 themes that you should reflect upon, no matter who you are, be it a male, female, or anyone. Okay? That first thing that you should reflect upon is that always remember to yourself that I am subjected to aging. Okay? I am subjected to aging, that I am not exempt from it, or I am not escaped from it. Okay? So, from today onwards, go home. When you get up in the morning, go in front of the mirror and tell to yourself, learn to accept that you are subjected to aging, so that you don't hate yourself for that. When we age, when our body is not up to our expectations, okay, there's a time that our body become like, it doesn't come up to our expectations, it fails. Okay. And then you learn to face that reality with a strong mind, because that is something that you have always reflected upon. Okay. So the Buddha says, reflect every single day that you are subjected to aging. Okay. Why should you do that? The Buddha says, you should do that because if you are not thinking about this, people don't think about this. People don't reflect upon this aging. They are subjected to aging, and what happens is that they get intoxicated with the youth. Our mind get intoxicated with the youth, the youngness, or the young energy. Especially when we are young, okay, we have some energy in our body, right? We don't feel like we don't get age. We're not aging. That's why they say, Santa hirutaru pavatinaturu api marinene. They don't feel like, okay? Why? Because they have that young energy in their body. And sometimes they look at the older people and they think that they are different kind of creatures. We'd never be like them. Okay? One thing that my mother always told to me when she sees an older person, she's like, one day you will be like that, okay? Remember, you have to go with a walking stick also. Okay? When we get intoxicated with the young energy or the youth in our body, we think like, okay, we are the ones who know everything. We are always right. How we feel is always correct. And the things that we think and the things that we do are always correct, always logical. Everything what I think is right, how I feel is right. And the Buddha says, when you get intoxicated with the youth, people do unwholesome actions, unwholesome things with their body, with their mind, with their speech. Because you forgot the nature of mind, the nature of life. Okay? Because you have that youth. But if you think to yourself, one day, this energy not going to be here with me. Okay? One day it's going to change. Okay? When you think about it, you can become a more kinder person, more compassionate person, to feel how others suffer. Okay? To feel and to understand how others suffered. When I was in Sydney, one daughter, she came up to me and she said, like, I have a grandpa is with me, okay, and I always help him, but I get so much annoyed because he says one thing and he does one thing. Right? Pretty illogical. Then I said, this is what old age looks like, feels like. Okay? Once you understand that one day you will be also like this, so that you be more compassionate on them. Compassion means ability to share someone's suffering. Okay? To feel someone's problem or difficulty. Compassionate, the word compassionate comes from a Latin word called compati. Compati means to suffer together. Right? So that we can share our suffering as humans. You don't have to suffer alone. We don't have to suffer alone. Always we can share it. Not to give someone suffering, okay? After you marry, you say to your husband or wife, like, from now onwards, for the rest of your life, I will share my suffering. Definitely. I will annoy you for the rest of your life. Not like that, but to be more kind, and sometimes to be compassionate, you don't have to do many things. To be compassionate, sometimes you only have to listen to someone. Right? You come home after work and you don't just go straight and tell them how bad your day was. Okay? Sometimes when we have bad days, we just like go directly into your partners and you just complain about how bad the day was. But we didn't know that how bad their day was, isn't it? But if we can go and listen to them without just putting out our own problems, but sometimes we all have problems, we all have stress, we all have like sufferings in life. But one thing that we can do is we can listen to each other. Learn to listen to someone. Especially to your wife. Ladies, they don't need solutions to problems. They need someone to listen. Sometimes people come to meet me, talk with me about ladies, especially when the ladies come, I don't say anything. Like I don't want to give any solutions. They solve the problem by themselves. Only thing that I do all through the conversation is just listening to them. And handing over a tissue paper. I have a separate tissue box with me that I always hand over to them when they cry. Okay. Okay. Sometimes you have to listen. And once you start to listen, you see how difficult it is. There was a nice quote that I read. It says, listen to people same like you listen to your Spotify playlist. Right? Because you're too much listening to songs and music. You're too eager. You don't say anything. You just listen to it. You feel it. Same like listen to people. That's also compassion. Ability to put down our problems and to listen to someone. Okay? So it makes you a kinder person. So that is why the Buddha says, understand that your life is subjected to what? Aging. Okay. Number 2. The Buddha says, remember to yourself that your life is subjected to sickness. Okay. So that you understand what condition and what is the nature of your body. This thing is like a vehicle. Okay? And you don't think about, most of the time you don't think about your body as a vehicle. Start to think your body as a vehicle. You care too much about your vehicle, the vehicle that you're driving, isn't it? You wash it, you check oil, you check tires, right? And you care for it, but you don't care about the body. Same like you do that. Okay? But this is something like a vehicle. And why do you so much care about your vehicle that you drive? Is because you know, deep down in you, you know that if I didn't care about it, one day this vehicle will stuck in the middle of a traffic and I will get into a huge problem, isn't it? Yes, that's why you check your engine a lot. But this is also a vehicle. If we didn't take care of it, okay, it gives you some red lights. Same like you see the check engine sign on your dashboard. Right? It gives you red lights, it gives you warning, and we oftenly just don't care about it. We just keep driving and the vehicle still drives. But one day it will fail. And once it fails, you have to forget about all the other things and all the other dreams and all the other plans that you had and just focus on this. If you know that this is subjected to sickness, you can take care of it. Okay. And the Buddha says, why should one think about his body and he is subjected to sickness? Because the Buddha says, our mind get intoxicated with health. We think that, okay, we will be healthy forever. No. When you think that you will be healthy forever, that's where you eat junky foods. Because you think, okay, this is not going to hurt me anymore. This a little bit now. Right? We keep making excuses to ourselves. You know, little bit of sugar is okay, it doesn't matter. Little bit of sugar is okay for today, but when it comes to every day, and that counts. Okay? So understand. The Buddha says, once you get intoxicated with health, the people do unwholesome actions from their body, mind, and speech. But if you know that this health is subjected to change, impermanence, that's where you understand the reality of life. So not to be pessimistic, not to suffer like, oh, everything is suffering. I'd like just don't brush your teeth because it's subjected to change. So whether you brush it or not, someday it will, it will fall off. No, it's not like that. Okay? So the second truth in life. Third one, the Buddha says, understand that you are subjected to death. Okay? So that you know that you have a limited time on this earth. We all have a limited time. Okay? We don't know what time it is, how long we're going to live. It's not about how long we live, it's all about how we live. Right? Don't worry about how long I'm going to live. Worry about how I am living today. How kind I am today. How do I share my love and compassion with people around me today? Understand that. So the Buddha says, people get intoxicated with the life. Okay, and they think, okay, they are immortal. Okay, but we all are mortals. So that you accept it. Okay, so that it doesn't create excess suffering, excess pain. And the Buddha says, what's the fourth truth that you have to reflect is that I am under the influence and under the power of karma. Okay? Whatever I do with intention, there will be a result. It will come back to me. Okay? Karma decides many things in our life. Okay? Action. Karma is something like we create a potential that in the future we get its results. So karma is creating potentials for it to get results. Okay? So the Buddha says that remember to yourself that karma, I own my karma. Okay? I am the owner of my karma. I am heir to my karma. Okay? The Buddha says karma is my relative, so that you are more cautious about, more mindful about what you do. Okay? If you know that the karma has a huge influence in your life, so that you're mindful about your intentional actions, your thoughts, your words, your actions, you're mindful about it. Okay? That is why they say is, what goes around comes around. Simply. And the final thing the Buddha says, understand that someday I will have to be separated from everything and everyone that I love. This is difficult. But once you accept it, you know that you are not going to be with them forever. Okay? So that you value the relationship. You feel the value of a relationship. Understand? We don't feel the value of the people around us. We don't feel the value of the people in our family because we think that tomorrow will be, or they will be there with us. But who knows? Okay. That is why, because that is where when we don't think about this reality, that they are not going to be with us forever, we don't think about it, we hold on to grudges. We hold on to the problems. We hold on to the anger and take it to the next day. Okay. Take it to the next day. Understand, if you hold on to the anger, you never know when they are going to leave you. And once, if they left you, there will be nothing but regrets. Because why? Because you couldn't say sorry to them. Right? You couldn't say sorry to them when they're alive. I know how painful it is. Okay? I had a big problem with one of my friends. Huge one. And we didn't talk each other. We hold on to the anger. And one day he came to the school. We didn't talk. And little voice in my head always say that, why should I want to talk with him? Why should I say sorry? I was the one who had to say sorry. I was the creator of problem. I was a big creator of problems back then, okay? And I always wanted to say sorry to him, but the ego in your head doesn't let you do that and say, why should I say sorry? No? Why should I do that? I don't want to do that. And on that day, in the evening, there was a huge rain. And at around 7:30, like around this time, I get a call from one of my friends. And he says that my friend was angry. I was angry with the one who had the problem with me. He has died. He was drowned in a river and he's dead. Next day I attend to his funeral. I wanted to say sorry, but now I can't. The only thing I could do was I held on to his feet and I said, Machang, sorry. Sri Lanka, we say Machang for the friend. I'm sorry. But you don't feel the same way that you say sorry to a living person. Okay, that stays with me forever, I guess. I have done a lot of good things on behalf of him. Okay. You never know the value of the people around you. That is why I always say, if you have a problem, solve it within one day. Just one day. Okay? Don't take it to the next day. Same like, I always say, your head is like a dustbin. Okay? Clean the dustbin every night. Okay? Your head is a dustbin, it's a trash can that keep collecting what? Trash. You know? Sometimes you can't avoid collecting trash. And also sometimes you can't avoid people putting trash on you. Okay? Because sometimes they are designed to put trash on you. They are meant from your fate sometimes. Okay? But at least we can clean the dustbin, place in the trash can every single night. Okay? I know you all have a trash can or a dustbin at your home in the kitchen. Okay? You put, after cooking or after eating, you put all the stuff into that, food scraps and other things. What if you didn't clean the trash can? What will happen? It smells? No, it doesn't smell. Just one day it doesn't smell. Doesn't make any difference. Okay? But you keep putting some more trash into it the next day. Okay? And the next day, after 1 week, and now it smells. Okay? Same like that. Our head is something that is collecting trash. But one thing that we can do is we can clean the dustbin every single night by forgiving and letting go. Okay? You should not forgive just to say that, okay, what you did was right. Okay? What you hurt me and it is okay. No. You have to forgive yourself because you care about yourself. Okay? You choose peace. And having those regrets and having those anger is something like you're dragging a boat on a dry land. Let's say you're dragging a huge boat on a dry land. Now, where should the boat be? on the water. But you are now keep dragging into the dry land. There is no use of the boat, and also it's a heavy thing for you. It's a burden for you. Same like that. The regrets and the problems that we hold on in our head are just nothing. It leaves nothing but regrets. It's just a weight in your head. That every day, if you can just clean your dustbin, forgive the people, forgive yourself, forgive people around you, and bring a new dustbin to tomorrow to collect more trash, I think at least it doesn't smell. No? So that understand. When you realize the reality of this, people around you, and the importance of your life, importance of the people around you, you will be more forgiving, and you will be at more peace. Right? Sometimes you have to say sorry. Sometimes you have to ask for forgiveness. All right? Ask for forgiveness and to forgive also. Okay? Forgiving is not, or saying sorry doesn't mean that you are a wrong person. Okay? Don't be afraid to say sorry if you made a mistake. Doesn't mean that you are a wrong person. Saying sorry doesn't mean make you a wrong person. Saying sorry means you value the person more than being right. You choose to value the person, the relationship, than being a right person. Sometimes you have to say sorry even when you are right. Okay? There's a saying that says, the person who says sorry when he's wrong is called humble. Okay? And the person who says sorry when he doesn't know whether he's right or wrong is called wise. And the person who says sorry even when he's right is called husband. Right? So that finally you say, okay, sorry. I choose peace. You're right. Sometimes, because we always try to prove ourselves right, isn't it? Yes. Sometimes we don't have to. People are not always logical. Right? People are not always logical. People are pretty illogical. We are weird in a lot of ways, isn't it? Yes. People, everything cannot be proved in life. Like a math equation. No. People do maths a lot, they find hard to embrace the realities in life. Why? Everything should be proven to them. I need proofs. No, sometimes you don't have. Okay? People who study biology, they know how to see the imperfection in life. I know because I studied biology. You see the biology, what you say is, okay, that it is? Okay, that's good. That's the nature. Okay? Sometimes you don't have to prove yourself. All right? The problem is we try to prove ourselves right in the worst time. What's the worst time to prove yourself right? When someone is angry. When the other person is angry, you try to prove yourself right. The Buddha said, doso attang na jananti, doso attang na passati. When someone is angry, and his mind is filled with anger, hate, he doesn't know what is right or wrong. And we try to prove ourselves right in the worst time. Okay? If you want to prove yourself right, let them and wait until they cool down. Okay? So that they open their mind to listen to what you want to say. Okay? And sometimes when people react in front of you with anger, always understand it is not always about the problem. Sometimes the reason for their anger is a collection of problems, collection of difficulties and stress that they have gone through in their life. But we judge from one action. We judge them from one action. Right? Sometimes people be angry because sometimes, have you seen people being angry without a reason? Right. That is because sometimes they had a bad day. Okay? Sometimes all of their days are bad. So that you don't think that the reason for the anger is not always you. You see the problem behind the anger. You see the intentions behind the action. So that you become a more forgiving person. Okay? So, these are the realities that we need to reflect upon. And once we reflect upon them, our life, we will be more... We don't need many intelligent people to this world. We already have intelligent people in this world, isn't it? We need more kinder and wiser people, right? There are people who are very intelligent, but they do always stupid stuff. Right? The knowledge and the wisdom are two things. You can have a PhD and also you can do stupid things. Right? That's the thing. My teacher always said, what stands for PhD? Permanent head damage. I'm not criticizing it, okay? I didn't say it, my teacher said it, okay? That's the thing. So that you don't get annoyed with it. Understand that wisdom and knowledge are two things. Okay, wisdom comes with understanding, acceptance. Okay? Accepting the imperfections in life. So that you see you don't see the labels of other people, you see the real person behind it. Okay? And you are okay with all the realities that you face in life. Okay? So these are the 5 themes that we have to reflect upon. The first thing is I am subjected to aging. Second one, I am subjected to sickness. Third one, I am subjected to death. Fourth one, karma. I own my karma. Okay? And finally, all the people who are loving and who I love most, one day I will have to be separated so that you value the people around you. Okay? And you don't hold on to the grudges. And you let go. You learn how to let go. So, try to reflect upon them. And I wish you all, may all of you be able to realize the 4 noble truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Now we can go for the question and answer session. Now it's your time to ask questions. Okay. So So there's a question that says, as a young person, how can I practice Buddhism every day and use it in my day-to-day life to help with my studies and general life? First thing, Buddhism will help you in some parts. It will help you for your studies, okay? But it's not only for studies, okay? And general life also. But what Buddha teaches us is a larger, I don't like to say it as a goal, but it is one thing that we can say its goal is to realize the true nature of the life, to realize the impermanent nature of our life through ourselves. Now, how can you practice Buddhism in every day? So we can talk about all this stuff, but there should be something to add to your daily life so that you can practice. Okay? As a Buddhist, one of the things that you have to do is not to meditate first. It's so good to meditate. There should be the meditation first. You all have to learn the Buddha's teachings. Learn the sutras. That is something that many of us don't do. Okay? We like to listen to Bana, the speeches like this. But something that we don't do is, most of people, they don't read. Do they? They don't. We don't. We are not used to read. Okay? I would suggest to you, rather than, it's okay to listen to the sermons, it's a good thing to do, and it helps you. And also, one thing that you have to add into your life is to at least read one sutra, one teaching per week. Not for a day, a week. Right? Now you will complain, I know the next one. The book is too heavy. I can't take it to my office. No? Read online. That you have a phone, okay? There's a site called Sutta Central. And that site you can read the Buddha's teachings. There's another site called Access to Insight. You can read the Buddha's teachings. Okay? We keep finding excuses. No. We all have time if we make it. Why you are here today? You had all the other things to do, but you made time to come here. Why? Because it was important. You felt like, I want to go. Right? That's the priority. It's not about busyness, it's about the priority that we give. Okay? Learn to read at least one sutra per week. Okay? Something is better than nothing, no? So that you learn and you just get some ideas what Buddha teaches us. Okay? And that knowledge will help you in many ways, Okay, let's say you can't read many stuff like this. Take the Dhammapada book. Okay? Dhammapada book and use it as your handbook. Okay? Use it as your handbook. And whenever you have a problem in your life or difficulty in your life, just take the Dhammapada book and just turn to a random few pages. You will find the advice, the answer. That's how amazing Dhammapada is. Read it. Okay? So reading is one part. Are we that busy for that? No. No one is that busy. Okay? We are not busy like Elon Musk. He's the busiest guy on earth. He also has 24 hours. We also have 24 hours. It's all about priority. Okay? So reading. And then, before bed, at least you can chant the sutras or the parittas. We call it the protective chantings. Get used to chanting. This is something that okay, that's an old thing to do, no? All the CS and archis, all the gentlemen do that. No. Chanting will help you in many ways. To calm your mind, chanting is one of the best things that you can do. Okay? We don't chant and we complain that how we don't have a calm mind. If you chant, learn how to chant. And keep chanting every single night before your bed. It will help you. And it will help you to remember the Buddha's teachings. Do chanting. It's not an old thing to do. Okay? Buddhism is not an old thing. It is always relevant to our life, even today. Do chanting. And then try to practice the selfless activities during the day. Try to do a conscious, selfless activity during the day to help someone. Work on someone's benefit consciously, not unconsciously, okay? Sometimes we don't think much about them. No? Okay? You don't have to do separate things. Only thing that you have to do is, I know that you are doing a lot of things on behalf of others' benefits during the day. For an example, if you're a lady, or sometimes men as well, you cook for your children, right? How do you cook? You don't enjoy doing it? No. You do it because you don't have you have no choice. You just have to cook because it's to survive. But if you just think, this is me helping the people in my family. This is me dedicating my time and energy on behalf of others' happiness. So that you do a selfless activity. You put yourself below someone's happiness so that you feel giving. You become a generous person. Okay? And also when you do that, one thing that you have to do is don't expect any good compliment, any good comment. Kindness. Kindness always is doing something on someone, like on behalf of someone's happiness, and not expecting something in return. Kindness, if you be kind to someone and expect them to be kind to you, expect them to compliment you, that is not kindness. That is business. In business, what you teach? In business, to give and take. But kindness is not like that. Kindness is a one-way thing. Okay? The marriage can be give and take. Sometimes the marriage itself. Okay? Because it says marriage is a give and take thing. Okay? Either you give it to her or she will take it anyway. Okay. But kindness is not something, it's not a give and take process. It's always you dedicating your time and energy to be selfless, to be happy with what you have done, with your action, but not expecting others' compliments, others' good comments. If you keep your happiness totally on others' happiness and you be kind to them, you will stop it very fast. Because sometimes people can't understand our help, isn't it? Yes. They don't understand what we do. How much time we dedicate on their happiness. Okay? They don't understand why you are doing it. One thing that my teacher always say to me, you teach to people, don't expect them to compliment on you. Okay, so that you don't keep your happiness on them, but you keep your happiness on what you did. Got it? Good. I'm sorry, I will not be able to answer all the questions, okay? I'll try my best. Why did you decide to become a monk? To be happy. Okay? To find peace. Every monk becomes a monk to find peace. They don't need chaos. Okay? So that's the reason. Okay? And to find peace, you have to do less. You can't do more. Society tells you to do more, and then you will be happy. But monk's life is said, do less and do what is important. Okay? Do what is important. Because we do many things, but we don't do what is important. To do what is important, sometimes you have to say no to what is unimportant in life. Okay? That's why the Buddha says, appakicho. To have less duties. To do less. Now in your life, how to do less? It's not about the work, okay? You go to work and say, I'm Buddhist, I do less. Okay? Next day you're fired. It's not like that. You have to do what is important. And there are things that we do that are not important at that time. Okay. For an example, let's say you are a student, you're studying, and right next to you have your mobile phone. Okay? And you're studying and you have to be focused. And a little notification pops up. What do? You say to your mobile phone, yes, master, what should I do for you today? How should I slave you? We do other things, which is not important. You choose to do what should be done. Understood? That's why learn to say no. Learn to say no to unimportant things in life, no matter how enjoyable they are. Right? Let's say you need to find time for meditation and your friend calls you to a party. Now, what is more important to you? Party or meditation? Depends on you. Okay? It depends on how you think about it. Got it? So, learn to say no. How do you detach emotionally from someone that had wronged you? First, understand people, I've said it before, people make mistakes. That's what is called human. Okay? We make mistakes, I make mistakes, and also people do stupid stuff. We are stupid in many ways, We have mistakes, we have imperfections. First thing that when you accept it, you see how imperfect they are, not how perfect they are. Right? So that you think to yourself, okay, that's their nature. Right? That's their nature. So that you're not at war with them. Okay? And then understand that what they did to you is now finished. Right? Now it had happened. Now it is time for you to move on from that experience. Okay? You can't heal the wound if you keep touching it. You have to let go, move on. Understood? When you understand the imperfections in you and in people, you will learn how to forgive them. Right? And also, one thing that I always say, and I always tell to people, is that sometimes it is not about them. Sometimes it is about you. We don't like to accept the problem, isn't it? We don't like to accept the mistake that we have done to people. Sometimes our mind says to us, I am the correct one. But in reality, we may be wrong. Okay? When we are young, when we are like in 20s, we thought that everything that we think is right, isn't it? Yes. But now, do you feel the same way? No. Now you think, am I right? Right? Start to genuinely question your thoughts and how you feel. That is called maturity. Understand? That's why I always say to children, the youngsters, they say how they feel. And I always say, learn to question your thoughts. Learn to question your mind. Should we keep people at a certain distance and not get too attached? Attachment happens when you expect them to be up to your expectations. Right? Doesn't mean that you should not love them. Love and attachment are two things. Love is, I've always said that it is about giving. That you do your thing. You do your responsibility so that you are happy with what you did. Okay? And let's say they are hurting you. Okay? What do you have to do? Sometimes they take advantage of you. What do you have to do? You have to draw a boundary. You have to draw a line without anger, without being rude. You have to be very assertive about it. So that, why do you draw the line? Why do you say no? Because you care about yourself and you care about them as well. So that there's a clear boundary. Okay? That is also one kindness. And if you are kind and let yourself to be used, then that's not kindness. Okay? Okay, I guess this is from a mother. What advice can you give to the youth about addiction to the phones? Okay. First, are the mothers addicted to their phone? Okay, I'll get one thing. All of us are addicted to phones sometimes, isn't it? Yes. What can you do about it? Tell your child to throw the phone away? Now the problem solved? No. That's what your mother did, no? No. Okay. First, one thing that you have to do to stay away from the addiction. Addiction is something that we feel like we feel the happiness when we use it, and we keep doing it. Now your body get used to it. Once your body get used to it, you can't avoid. It is difficult to avoid. Not that you can't avoid, it is difficult. Addictions can be done. You can't stop an addiction without replacing it with a good addiction, a healthy one. Okay? So what I tell for many people is to do not use, first of all the things, do not charge your mobile phone near the bed. Please. Okay, you plug the charge and it's near the bed. Okay. What's the first thing people do in the morning? Take their phone. Go to the Facebook. If you are above 40, you are in Facebook. And if you are below 30, you are mostly in Instagram or TikTok. Okay. You scroll. And that information is unnecessary information that we are putting into our head. See, if you eat something bad, you can drink medicine and cure that stomachache. Okay? But we are too concerned about things we put into our mouth and to our belly, isn't it? We wash them, we cook them properly and put it inside our belly. But we are not that concerned about what we put inside to our mind from our eyes. We don't have filters. You have filters in Snapchat filters, but not filters to what you say, isn't it? Put filters to your face, but can we put filters to our mind? So do not charge the mobile. That's one of the biggest mistakes that we do. Charge it across the room or in the next room or in the living room, so that you have two advantages. One, you don't scroll, you don't go into social media. Two, if you need to wake up, the alarm is across the room so that you have to get down from the bed. Okay? Sometimes you get down from the bed, switch off the alarm, and you go back to bed. Have you ever went back to bed like that? Yes. So one thing that you can do is, if you can stay away from the screens and devices, you never know what these screens do to our eyes, right? It's really harmful. Our minds as well. So that in the morning, you don't use it. In the morning, you engage in more spiritual activities, like meditation, or reading a book, learning something, chanting, talking to people in your house. Okay? That is something that you can do. We all have to do that. Okay? The second thing, these are practical things that I say always, okay? And the second thing, don't take your mobile phone to toilet. I know many of the people, they take their mobile phone to their toilet. Why? They're afraid of boredom. Okay? They're afraid of boredom. What's the first thing that people do when they feel bored? They take it. Okay? But remember, once you learn how to be with yourself, you will be more creative. Okay? Where do the people get more creative ideas usually? Don't laugh at me now. When they are in the shower, not in the toilet. Why? Because they are with their phone. In the shower, luckily you can't use it. So that they get more creative ideas. Isn't it? Yes. Why? Because when you're being with yourself, learn to stay away from it. You be more creative. Okay. But I can't force people, okay? Don't force your children to do that. First, you do it. I see the angry faces of the parents now. First, learn how to stay away from the device. First, you. Now, children, the next thing, you don't go home and say to your parents that you heard no what your priest said? Don't say that. Okay? We all need to find some time to stay away from and enjoy the nature. Enjoy the morning. Have you seen morning? Yes, it's beautiful. They say we don't see it. Okay. So these are the little things that we can do. How hard it is to become a monk. It is very easy to become a monk physically. Okay? But takes years and lifetime of practice to make the mind a monk. Okay? I would say monkify the mind. So that you become a monk from the mind. Okay? It takes, it is difficult because we are dealing with the emotions, we are dealing with our anger, we are dealing with our lust, we are dealing with our illusion in our mind. Train the mind to discipline, it is difficult. To be disciplined, it is difficult. But I would say, I can describe the monkhood as difficult but beautiful. Right? Difficult roads leads to beautiful destinations. So that monkhood is really difficult, but it is really beautiful, really simple. Right? Usually the monkhood is designed to cut off a lot of unnecessary stress that we create to our mind. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone has to do it, okay? Because it is designed, this life, to be focused on spirituality, to dedicate the time and everything to spirituality. Okay. What's the first thing becomes simple is your hair. Once you don't have hair, not many things that you have to worry. Yeah. You will have a wash and no water on the hair, on the head. Gone. Okay. And it keeps your head cool. That's why the monks are always cool. Right? And we have one type of cloth that we wear for every occasion. Whether it is a funeral, whether it is a party or anything, we wear one thing so that you don't wake up in the morning and think, what to wear today? You have a whole wardrobe of clothes and you complain that you have nothing to wear. Isn't it? Well, just one thing, you just wear for everything. Okay? So all of these things are made to make the monk's life to be more focused on what matters most in his life. All right? Now, I don't say all of you to do that. In lay life, you have to do in a certain different way. But more simpler you become, more minimalist you become, you worry less. Okay? Because we go through a lot of decision-making stress during the day. Isn't it? Yes. First decision is also stressful. What is it? Whether to get down from the bed or not. Then what to wear, how to go to the work. A lot of stress, a lot of decisions. Should I go to the temple often? Yes. The temple, make your heart a temple, so that you visit every single day to the temple. Living in Australia, you don't get much temples around here. You make your heart a temple. Okay? Or from time to time, come to the temple, okay? Yeah. We'd like to see you guys. No? Go to the temple. Means the physical temple, okay? And if you have some monks to talk with them. Ask some questions. Not about what you did and everything to the temple, but about the things, how can I deal with this? Can you give me some advice? Okay? If you come to our temple, the advice is always given. Okay? You just have to ask. Is there ever been a moment that you have regret being a monk? No. I always say to myself that this is the best decision that I have made in my life. Okay? But there are times that I felt like leaving this life. Okay? Being a monk, we always feel it. Not always, some time to time. Maybe in the beginning of, right? Because it's not a problem of monkhood, it's a problem of our mind. Okay? Because the mind likes to not to be disciplined. Mind likes to wander here and there. Okay? And one day some guy asked for me, what's the most least favorite thing in your monkhood? And I said, to leave this monkhood. It's the least favorite thing. But one thing that keeps, in monkshood, keeps it going and keep practicing is the patience. Ability to wait. Okay, not to judge yourself from the current situation of your mind, but just to say to yourself, okay, just wait until tomorrow. Okay? Just practice until tomorrow. You keep going. Because in monk's life, the progress is always slower. It is not fast. In real life, everything is slower. Okay? Technology make everything in technology world faster and faster. You had 4G, now you have 5G. Right? Everything is instant here. What do we have? What we don't have as instant. Everything is instant. Isn't it? Yes, everything. Instant noodles. So, we expect everything to be instant, isn't it? Yes. Everyone likes to cook noodles in 2 minutes, but no one has ever cooked noodles in 2 minutes. They say that it cooks in 2 minutes. Same like that life. Always remember, the real life things, it takes time to grow. You have to wait. Okay? You have to wait. Your progress, your skills, your talents, meditation, it takes time. You don't have to rush. People love to rush. Even the meditation, isn't it? Yes. Keep following these things. Yesterday I met Ajahn Brahm, and he said, if you try to make this water still, what will happen? I try to make this water still. What do? I hold it tightly. Okay? The more I hold it tightly, what happens? The water moves. What do you have to do? Just keep it aside. Okay? Keep it aside. Let it settle down. Wait until it settles down. It still moves, okay? Wait until it happens. And now it is settled. Same like that. Don't rush for things in life. Okay? We should not. Something that we all have is we are too quick to see the results. And that's where we give up things doing. So the progress, everything that you do, education, studies, grades, you don't get grades like as you want. Have to improve, take time. Meditation, you don't float in the second day that you meditate, like on the air. People expect that like that and complain that why I'm not floating in the mid-air. It doesn't come like that. Okay? It takes time to do that. That is why, learn one thing from monk's life is how to wait. Once you become a monk, you have to, usually in our tradition, you have to stay as a lay person and help for monks for 1.5 years. And then wait another 3 years being a novice monk. And then after that only you become a higher ordained monk. So that you have to wait, learn, everything. Try to develop a student mentality so that you're open to learning, curious, slow, understanding. So these are the things. Okay? So let's wind up the Dhamma session. So all of you say sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Now it's time for us to show our gratitude for the people who helped today's program a success. So first of all, let's share all the merits that we collected today with all the devas who protect the Gautam Buddha's dispensation. May all the devas rejoice in this merit and may they be well and happy. May they live long. May they protect all the devotees who joined to this Dhamma sermon today. And may all of the Devas realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And also let's share the merits with our Pinot Lokuswamin Vahanse. May Pinot Lokuswamin Vahanse rejoice in this merit, and may he be well and happy. May he live long, may he live a happy life. And may he be able to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may Mahasangha rejoice in this merit, and may they be well and happy, may they live long, may they live a happy life. May they realize Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And let's share the merits with all the devotees who sponsored for the air tickets of the monks, Mr. Udara and all the family members, and also all the devotees who sponsored for the hall, and also let's share the merits with all the devotees who helped with the decorations in the stage, and also let's share the merits with all the devotees who helped for the sound system, and sponsored for the sound system. And also let's share the merits with all the devotees who helped for making the treats for the devotees who joined to this Dhamma sermon today. And all of these devotees rejoice in this merit, and may they be well and happy, may they live long, may they live a happy life. And may they realize Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And let's share the merits with all the devotees who joined this Dhamma program today. By the great blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, may all of you be well and happy. May all of you live long. May all of you live a happy life. And may all of you be able to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya.